It's the Lace Rounds crew. What? It's the Lace Rounds crew. 1 2 1 2. What it do? What it do? It's your boy Skeeter Steve, and welcome back to Lace Rounds with another reaction video. Yes. We are back with another reaction video, man. And this one, I ain't gonna front. This one is pretty good. It's gonna very dig deep into the shot that sparked off the whole fucking war. And I'm gonna get into that though, man. But in the meantime, go ahead and subscribe to our Patreon. Yes, Lace Rounds has a Patreon. The first 4 months of the Patreon is going to be free. I repeat, the first 4 months is going to be free, and after that, it's going to be $5. You can spend $5 at Dutch Bros. You can spend $5 at Starbucks. You can spend $5 on your Hulu or whatever account you got, man. Go ahead and support your boy with the $5, man. That's all I'm asking. $5, man. It's not that much. Well, all right. We're gonna get into it, man. Came across this video and we follow each other, man. So shout out to my boy louaista, and he be putting out fire content. Definitely fire content, man. And this content he did pretty much is reacting to the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect that started the biggest hip hop beef ever. Well, I consider it a war. You know what I'm saying? So, no further ado, let's get into it.
It only takes one wrong move to reap massive consequences, even when little decisions seem insignificant. This is the idea behind the butterfly effect. The theory states that something as simple as a butterfly flapping its wings can cause a massive earthquake somewhere else in the world. This is seen in the world of hip-hop too, where in seconds, the industry can churn on a dime and generate a sea of chaos from one small choice. All this to say, rap's greatest beef in the 21st century, that between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, can be traced back to nothing more than a little dispute, which we'll be talking about today. My name is louaista, and this is how one tiny
shout out to the boy
started
louaista.
rap's most infamous beef. Let's set our sights on the very beginning, 2002, when both artists were just rap-obsessed teens, and their feud started with a track from before they even began making music. Cash Money Records and the Neptunes' StarTrak dominated the early 2000s.
Clips, Laura Willing,
exciting artist-only
2002, yeah, man, they did that. In the case of
Birdman's New Orleans-based organization, they were selling millions of records thanks to artists like Juvenile, The Big Timers, and a young rapper by the name of Lil Wayne. Weezy was on the brink of breakthrough with his album 500 Degrees, and over time would become a major piece of the beef we'll dissect in this video. Meanwhile, Pharrell and Chad Hugo were transforming hip-hop at StarTrak, the home of a group known as Clips, which included Pusha T and Malice, with sounds that were in high demand.
So far,
with
so
two buzzing
good.
record labels dominating the young game, it was no surprise that Birdman and the Clips' collab on What Happened to That Boy in 2002 had the streets live.
What happened to that boy?
That was sparked everything. Everything.
Some financial shadiness surfaced when Stunna didn't pay Skateboard P for that.
And that's crazy.
Sprouting a label beef.
Pharrell never worked with any Cash Money artist ever again.
And if you look back, Pharrell never worked with a Cash Money artist after this moment.
Which is crazy.
Never been a Drake collab in any way, huh?
Never seen
I couldn't
it.
find one unless I missed one.
In light
You
of the
didn't.
song's effect
You
on today's
didn't.
events, fans wonder if Birdman could have prevented history by simply cutting Pete a check. Instead, a generational feud would tear a rift into rap as we know it today. Some have even compared the track's lore to the Gavrilo Princip Franz Ferdinand shooting, which is the murder that sparked the Second World War. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Back to the beef. After Birdman refused to pay up, it drove a wedge between Pharrell's camp and Cash Money, one that stretched far beyond music. Even when Pharrell moved into the fashion industry with his Billionaire Boys Club, Weezy was unable to get a care package and was even ignored when his request went directly to P.
I'm told behind the scenes, Lil Wayne used to ask for Billionaire Boys Club gear and was told no. And went and wore it in a video anyway, and they was like, yo, we told you basically not to wear our stuff, and there was like an issue.
So Pharrell held on to the fact that he never got paid.
I'm told.
Which, by the way,
I'm not mad at that though.
Here, so you would understand
I'm not mad
why.
at that.
Yeah, I don't know if he got paid half in advance, didn't get the back end.
I'm not mad at that because for real, like,
anyway,
you don't do people like that, man.
As petty as it
You don't
may
do
seem,
people like
fashion
that.
has always intertwined with hip hop. And in this rivalry, it would play a major role in setting the scene for Drake to make poor decisions of his own. But before we get there, another instance of Lil Wayne inciting wardrobe warfare came after he wore a Bape hoodie on the cover of Vibe in 2006. You see, this is kinda important because Pharrell and the Clips were pioneers in the brand's popularization. So they took Wayne's move as disrespect and began sending subliminals, like this Pusha verse on Mic Check.
4 years later, admiring the shoes. Baby, you're late, we call you Tokyo Buffoon.
But the major escalation is found on the track Mr. Me Too, the lead single from Clips' second record, Hell Hath No Fury, that accused Weezy and the Cash Money crew of
shots fired on that. If you know, you know. Shots are fired on that.
Their digs were pretty direct, and it didn't take long for Weezy to respond later that year in a Complex interview where he went off in a fit of rage. He claimed that the StarTrak boys needed What Happened to That Boy to make a name for themselves, and demanded that Bape wasn't cool until he wore it. Pretty bold stuff. This public response cemented the disdain between the two rap crews, who'd forever be at odds. But Pusha's brother Malice claims to this day that Mr. Me Too was never meant to diss Weezy.
I can tell you unequivocally, Mr. Me Too was not about Lil Wayne. At least to my knowledge, I've never heard that.
Okay. So this was just a rumor that was.
I'm talking about internally. Like, we're not even that lame to, you know, talk about somebody and not say your name. You know what I'm saying? So, absolutely not. Before that, you know, I thought everything was cool. You know, us and Baby and, you know, we had went out to New Orleans and shot What Happened to That Boy. Then something happened, the cameraman messed up the footage. So we went back out because, you know, it was just on the cool. So it was, you know, never any problems with them.
This isn't the only alternative.
Ernie presents.
Y'all gonna have to excuse me, man. Like, yeah, the freaking ads, they wouldn't leave your boy alone, man, at all. Like, the ads were definitely popping up in these videos, man. So bear with me, man. Like, for real. Like, they wouldn't hold up, not one bit though. But yeah, man, everything that he's saying so far is factual. Pure facts.
Money's former artist Currency, the whole Bape ordeal was a complete misunderstanding on both sides.
Cause I always say Wayne caught a bad bag with the Clips about that. Pusha T was all pissed at him for Bape, and it's like, I showed the homie Bape, he didn't take that from y'all. I was like, yo, he thought I had Converse on in the studio. And I was like, no, and showed him on the computer what they were. Then he proceeded to flex a Lil Wayne wallet and buy the whole website on me, but you know, it's all good.
Unfortunately, platforms like Say Cheese weren't around at the time for rappers to break these things down, so the rumor mill would instead cause the beef to reach a boiling point. And after that interview, Pusha and Malice stayed on Weezy's neck in their own exchanges. For example, when they were asked about Wayne's self-proclamation as the greatest living rapper, they had some choice words. They accused Tunchi of kissing men, stealing swag, copying Jay-Z, dealing dressing like cult leader Jim Jones, and much more accusations that came with a lot of weight. And while the beef may have simmered after this exchange, it wouldn't be long before the flames erupted once again at the hand of the Neptunes fanboy, who signed with Cash Money Records. But not before copying an autographed mic to pretend he was Pusha T in the mirror.
One day I was looking for like autograph stuff from Clips because I was like a really, really big Clips fan. Some search words led me to this guy in Virginia that a microphone that Pusha T used during the show. It was like plastic, but it had his autograph on it. I used to pretend I was doing interviews on the red carpet and perform all the Clip songs in my basement with the mic. At the time, it meant the world to me.
Aubrey Graham signed to Young Money in 2009 after making waves in the underground with some critically acclaimed mixtapes, and was only a few steps away from becoming the household name that we all know today as Drake. While inking with the NOLA label, there was no clause indicating inheritance of his rivalries, but he still took it upon himself to stand on the label's business, which would become an error that he would never be able to rewrite. But until this L emerged from the shadows, the former Degrassi child star experienced one of hip-hop's fastest booms into stardom, thanks to projects like So Far Gone, Take Care, and others.
He sure did.
Meanwhile,
He
Pusha T
sure
followed
did.
Clips into hiatus,
Can't deny
and
that.
would even sign over with Kanye West at Good Music. Despite the new label, his bad blood with Cash Money hadn't gone anywhere. This fueled his return on the track Don't Fuck With Me, where he jacked the beat from Drake's Dreams Money Can Buy and took some clear shot at Cash Money's newest stars.
Rappers on they sophomores acting like they boss lords. Fame such a funny thing for sure. When Start believing all them encores.
At the time, Drake seemed to take Pusha's advice and didn't reply. But when he didn't get a response, Pusha kept applying pressure to the Cash crew on 2012's Exodus.
You signed to one nigga, that signed to another nigga, that signed to three niggas. Now that's bad luck.
Here, Pusha takes a jab at Drake for only getting a small percentage of the money he was making. And if that line rings a bell, it's cause Kendrick borrowed it all these years later on the song Euphoria.
You were signed to a nigga that signed to a nigga that said he was signed to that nigga.
Before he could defend himself,
but Kendrick did it better.
Twitter, keeping things simple and direct. Pusha T and anyone that loves him. And soon after, he followed this tweet up with a song called Goalish, a diss track that started with the same line. But Pusha T was not impressed with this attempt at his head, to say the least.
When you heard, what was your opinion of Wayne's response?
That was horrible. It was horrible. It was trash. It wasn't great. Yeah, it wasn't good. Like, in all honesty, man, I haven't said anything about it because I didn't think it was like good enough to respond to.
It was from this moment on that fans were absolutely itching for a head-to-head between the rising star Drake and the Clips legend Pusha T, with everyone taking their bets on how it would play out. As we know now, we would eventually get what we were hoping for, but not just yet. A lot went into building up to the story of Adidon, one of the most infamous diss tracks in hip-hop history. First, Drake formally entered the battle with Tuscan Leather on 2013's Nothing Was the Same, where he stood up for Weezy and warned Pusha not to take things further.
I'm just as famous as my mentor, but that's still the boss, don't get sent for. Get hype on tracks and jump in front of a bullet you wasn't meant for.
Of course, this merited a response from Push on the track Suicide, where he let Drake know that his issues with Wayne came first, but that he'd happily take on anyone associated with the label.
I can't see the seams as you mirroring your idol, but a pawn's only purpose is completely suicide.
It seemed like Pusha would have the last laugh here as the beef went cold until 2016, when a few more lines from the Clips member dropped only a couple months after Drake's heated beef with Meek Mill. That exchange brought Drake's ghostwriting allegations to light, and Push decided to give his thoughts on rappers who don't craft their own rhymes on HD TV Freestyle.
It's too far gone when the realest ain't real.
Another eye, y'all. They were coming through, man. I didn't know what to do.
The cloud, so your ceilings ain't real. These Call of Duty cause they feelings ain't real.
Feeling hot after washing Meek, it didn't take long for Drake to respond with Two Birds, One Stone, which featured his most direct hits at Pusha yet. He called T a fake gangster who lied about drug dealing, and called him the middleman in this entire situation. Honestly, it seems like Drake is the true middleman here, but we'll let that slide. At this point, one thing was for certain. Every ounce of that Pusha T fanboy in Drake had vanished, and a 14-year-old feud between Cash Money and StarTrak had boiled to this exact moment. Drake and Pusha were on a collision course, which would not only unfold a major revelation, but played an instrumental role to Kendrick's master plan of taking down BBL Drizzy. If only Bird paid up all those years ago. The end game of the Pusha T and Drake beef all started on Pusha's Ye-produced track, Infrared, where he brought back the ghostwriting allegations with the simple line, "It was written from Nas, but it came from Quentin." That same day, Drake pulled up Meet the Grams with his Duppy freestyle, where he revealed that Kanye had employed his services for ghostwriting during the Wyoming album stretch, saying, "Father had to stretch his hands out and get it from me." What most people don't know is that this included Pusha's own Daytona album, but we'll never know if Drake actually wrote for that one. Regardless, he had plenty of words for Push.
Must have had your infrared wrong, now your head in a beam. Y'all let it spit an image of whatever jealousy breeds. Don't push me when I'm in album mode.
Somebody piss Drake off. And I ain't gonna lie, Duppy was smooth. Duppy was really smooth. Pusha T. But we'll get into it after the video's over.
The track was littered with typical rap beef scolds, but Drizzy may have crossed the line where he brought family into the mix. Upon mention of Push's fiancée, Virginia Williams, T was free to get the gloves off. Somehow, Drake never learned his lesson here, and as we've seen in his beef with Kendrick, when you bring family into the mix, prepare for things to get messy. But we all know what happened next. The story of Adidon drops, with Pusha not only outing Drake's past of wearing blackface while discussing his biracial identity, but also revealing that Drake had a son that he hadn't yet made public.
Let me keep with the facts. You are hiding a child. Let that boy come home. Deadbeat motherfucker playing border patrol. Ooh!
What the bro? What the? This nigga called Drake they could then be in the same minute I found out he had a baby.
To say that this line did critical damage would be an understatement. Not only did it sink Drake's plan to unveil his son as part of an Adidas campaign, it effectively ended his partnership with them. The worst blow would ultimately be that the world now saw him as a terrible father. You would think unveiling your kid for a brand deal would have the same effect though. Lose-lose situation for real.
Who rolled out that child with a sweatsuit? Like, get out of here. What are you doing?
I didn't understand that line.
Yeah, explain that Adidas situation.
See, the Adidas situation is this. The child, allegedly, his new line on Adidas is called Adidon, which is named after Adonis, his son. But we couldn't know about your child until you start selling sweatsuits and sneakers.
Fans were quick to point out how vicious this comeback was all over the internet, and he still never lived this one down, honestly. Pusha T continued to break down his process and methods of the diss in several interviews, calling Drizzy out for his broken father-son relationship, his silence on black issues, and much, much more.
Now I gotta dig deeper into who the person is. Now I gotta dig in and see, what are y'all like? What's your family like? Oh, your dad left you at 5. Oh, I get that. He never walked you to the bus stop. You're mad about this. You parade your dad around in these weird suits. You parade him. It's clown-like. I get clown feelings from that. You are silent in all black issues. I don't hear about anything. You have all the platform in the world. You were so passionate back then. No, you weren't.
Pusha was also the first to point out the holes in Drake's circle. Many people assumed Kanye was the whistleblower on Adonis, but Pusha claims it was none other than Drake's right-hand man and producer 40 Shabib.
40 is sleeping with a woman. He talks to her daily, 5-6 hours a day. Ultimately, speaks about how he's disgruntled about certain things. With that also came the fact that Drake has a child. With that also came the trip that everybody took to go see the child and bring him gifts and all of this information. She divulged this information.
This would ultimately be the model of investigation that Kendrick Lamar would also emulate in 2024, even taking it a bit further by anticipating Drake's moves based on past beefs. And people still can't believe that history has repeated itself, hinting towards Kendrick's claims that someone in his camp was working for him. The point is, the story of Adidon was a blow from which Drake couldn't recover. He had no choice but to concede to this L he had taken.
I tip my hat to the chess move. I mean, it was a genius play in the game of chess, and definitely, warranted my first loss in the competitive sport of rapping. By choice, obviously, because I bowed out after realizing the gap between us allowed him to drop a bomb on the world that really became that was all anyone cared about.
Like what we saw on The Heart Part 6, he tried to move on and even claimed Jay Prince stopped him from dropping another diss because it was supposedly going too far.
What I think is where they think that you went too far.
I don't care.
I
don't care. Oh. There is no too far. I don't play like that. That's why you don't play with me. Right. There is no too far.
Right.
It's not. Forever.
Is there any
Leave
time?
it alone. Leave me be, because there's no too far. Right. That's how it goes.
You felt like you went too far?
Who, me? There's no too far.
Right.
Absolutely. Right. Promise you. And anybody who ever told me that I went too far, I never spoke to him again.
However, it hasn't stopped him from throwing subliminals. Speaking of which, Pusha still relishes these subs to this day, saying that it lets him know how deeply he hurt Drake in their beef. It would be a while before Kendrick would utilize all of this weaponry laid out by Pusha, as it wasn't quite his churn. Despite working together on Nostalgia, the two weren't all that close. However, it was his ties to another StarTrak boy that would fuel Kendrick's desire to take down Drake once and for all. Although he still had no love for Cash Money, Pharrell always insisted he wasn't in favor of what happened between Pusha and Drake.
Pusha didn't tell me because he knows I would have, stood in front of him as much as I could. But he's a different kind of person. He's a Taurus. You know what I'm saying? And when you feel like a line is crossed and you take off the gloves, that's just where your brain is at. You know what I'm saying?
Touching on the roots of their beef with the what happened to that boy, Pharrell said he wished none of that would have happened because he would have liked to have seen them all work together. He even dropped a shocker shocker by leaking the respect that Pusha has for Drake behind the curtains.
It still breaks my heart to this day because I would have loved to have heard those guys on a song together or heard a joint project together. I would have loved to have seen that. By the way, Pusha says Drake got bars. When Drake makes something that's amazing, we talk about it all the time when something's it's amazing.
Known as one of the most level-headed hip-hop personnel, Pharrell seemed eager to keep the peace. But he'd later learned that he should have been in Pusha's corner after all. In 2022, it was revealed that Drake had copped some of Pharrell's most iconic chains, even rocking them in music videos in what seemed like a respectful homage. But all of that was thrown out the window the following year when he admitted to destroying the legendary pieces on Travis Scott's Meltdown.
I melt down the chains that I bought from your boss, give a fuck about all of that heritage.
Drake even took shots at his new position as the creative head at Louis Vuitton, stating his refusal to wear the brand after Virgil's passing, letting off what seemed like an unprovoked attack at Pharrell. It seemed like Drake's issues came with Pusha T appearing in Pharrell's first Louis show. In taking shots at Pharrell, Drake dissed a real legend and pioneer in the game. Because of P's status, it was a move that even Drake fans didn't appreciate. But more devastatingly, he gave Kendrick Lamar even more reason to start the problem that he'd been itching to for years now. Because if you don't know, Skateboard P has been a mentor to K-Dot since the Section 80 days.
All that jazz that y'all have in your music, that's the man. Do not lose. Who's the producers?
From you, that mean a lot, man.
A working relationship that has led to tracks like Good Kid, Mr. Morale, and All Right. Pharrell has always been quick to give K-Dot his flowers.
Kendrick is one of the greatest writers of our time. And he's a great writer because he knows how to be very disciplined with a subject matter. He knows that stickiness is important, and he knows that it has to feel great.
It's unclear if Drake's verse on Meltdown was the last straw, or simply one of the many factors gradually fueling his disdain for the Six God, but he directly references the Pharrell dissing on Euphoria.
I don't like you popping that Pharrell. For him, I inherit the beef. Yeah, all that pushing P. Let me see you push a T.
Not gonna lie, that line was kinda hard. And he's not only referencing two legends who both had bad blood with Cash Money over the What Happened to That Boy, but straight up says that he's inheriting the beef. This is all the proof we need to confirm that this beef is the domino effect of that small mistake. A buildup of multiple decades worth of turmoil, diss tracks, and bad blood. Like Pusha and Wayne all those years ago, the same sides continue to send new soldiers into the battle, all over a financial wronging. Only the
First of all, great job, man. Great job, louaista, getting into this, man. But definitely have my take on that, man. But first off, man, like what we said, man, the butterfly effect. Butterfly effect, man. Something that happens and it causes a chain events throughout history. Just causes a super riff. And as we can see, we talked about that riff though, but people always forget that 2003 Birdman solo album. You know, people started to leave Cash Money, this and that. He hooks up with the Clips. Does What Happened to That Boy. Fire song. Super fire song. But when you look at it in retrospect throughout the years, that's why we never got that Wayne and Pharrell collab, which is crazy. All of due to a financial dispute. You know, Mr. Me Too taking shots because Wayne couldn't get no babe, and then Wayne, you know, grabbing babe and doing that cover photo, you know, sending his little subliminals, sending his direct shots. And then just to come and figure out, all it just came from is fucking Currency just showing Wayne the clothing line online. Oh my God! Which is crazy. I mean, it is crazy though, but it is what it is. Then you fast forward, here comes Drake. You know, he's saying what he's saying, and he inserted himself into it. And Pusha was like, fuck it, if you want to insert yourself to it, man, you gonna get it too. And then they go with the back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Bars, trading bars here and there. You know, the subliminal disses here and there. You know what I'm saying? And then, this is even prior, before Kendrick hooking up with Pharrell. You know what I'm saying? And you know, with the whole Control shit, and then Kendrick and Drake, they go at it though, but Pharrell was an insert in the picture at the time. Pharrell didn't start working with Kendrick till the Pimp a Butterfly when he did All Right, which was a super fire joint. And then, you know, they trade their little bars back and forth subliminal. And then here come Pusha T and Drake again. Infrared, Duppy Freestyle, Story of Adidon. And then after that, when he said what he said in that interview, talking about I gracefully bowed out because that was the only thing. Nah, nigga. It was something behind that because you were listening to the Jay Prince. Oh, don't say nothing, even though you had some lock and loaded, but you never gave us that. You really never gave us that. So I'm trying to figure out. So to me, an L is an L. Like you took that loss. Something about you about, no, nigga, you lost point blank and simple. Then we fast forward. Damn comes out. Damn does the numbers. Drake trying to low-key trying to show love to Kendrick on that, talking about all my dudes are winning, but yet y'all forgot he was suddenly taking jabs at him on Games 100, and then Kendrick returned the favor on All the Stars with SZA telling him, nigga, I don't want your congratulations. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, it's subtle, it's quiet, and then here we go. Drake buys the Pharrell pieces and whatnot, and then him saying what he said, and who knows, maybe that struck a nerve in Kendrick. And then here come Kendrick with the like that. Motherfuck the big three, nigga, it's just big me. Nigga, bum, your best work is a light pack, nigga. Prince live out mic check. For all them dogs getting buried. And then Drake with push-ups, having the bodyguards like Whitney. Travis got you wiped down. SZA got you wiped down. And for some strange reason, I felt like the battle would have been great if would have just kept the wife's names out this mouth. Nigga, you didn't learn your lesson with Pusha T when you said, nigga, I'm gonna ring those bells like Virginia Williams. Stop with the fucking pettiness, nigga. Stop it. And then you putting him on the time clock. Here comes Euphoria. Right after Euphoria, here comes 616 in LA. Then you try to give us Family Matters, and then right after Family Matters, here come Meet the Grams, and then the nail in the coffin, Not Like Us. And it's just crazy just looking at that timeline. It started between Clips and Birdman and Pharrell. Birdman didn't pay Pharrell. They don't see eye to eye, so Clips don't see eye to eye with them. Here comes Wayne. Wayne doesn't see eye to eye with Clips. He says some subtle jabs. They said subtle jabs, so but they didn't respond back, and then here come Drake and Pusha T. They're jabbing. Kendrick and Drake jabbing, but this is before when Pharrell inserted himself in when he produced on To Pimp a Butterfly. Jab. And then here come Pusha T and Drake again. They jabbing. Drake bows out. It gets quiet. And all of a sudden, the fight that we wanted to see, and it's just crazy, all stemming from a fucking payday that you didn't pay these niggas, man. It's crazy. It's crazy how that all panned out. It's really, really fucking crazy, man. But shout out to louaista, man, for really breaking that down, man. And I mean, just going in depth with that, man. And a lot of people don't know, when we hear, we think that beef stems, you know, from the Control verse and then Kendrick's with the cypher and everything, though. But just when you're really looking at it in retrospect, this beef started back in 2003, all because of one motherfucker didn't want to pay the producers. And it's like my slogan that I'm going to be dropping pretty soon with the merch. Good beats ain't cheap, and cheap beats ain't motherfucking good. Plain and simple. But man, this was a fire video, and this was a dope reaction, man, though. But yeah, man, y'all go ahead and comment on this. Let me know, was all of this factual or was it cap? Was it all on point or was it cap? Let me know. But you know what I'm saying, though. But in retrospect, this is the best rap battle that we got. And this by far, to me, in my opinion, is literally the best battle. For real. But yeah, man, I just wanted to say thank y'all for, you know, tuning in and everything. Subscribe. Tell a friend that tells a friend that tells another friend. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, iHeart, Google, SoundCloud, Apple, Podbean. You name it, we own it. You know what I'm saying? Let people know, man, this is what we do. This is for the culture and by the culture, man. You know what I'm saying? So until then, this is your boy Skeeter Steve with the Lace Rumps reaction video. We out. Peace.